Hey guys, welcome back to rhrjen. Jen, I'm so glad you're here. Guys, first of all, thank you so much for your response to my earlier video all about the Kevin Costner event. But since recording that, I've learned so much more. And because of you guys, thank you so much. I found a video of Meghan being just awful on the sideline. So I thought we could take a look at that and discuss a few more things that have come up that I've learned since recording that. Thank you, everybody who left me such great feedback on that. But I wanted to bring in a special guest for this one because he also had some really cool opinions on this. So, welcome, John Witherspoon. And thank you for being here. John, how are you today?
I'm great, Jen. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So, yeah, in case you guys don't know, sometimes John and I'll message about some of this crazy Meghan stuff. And I started messaging John about just the craziness from this Kevin Costner event, and you had some opinions, and I said, "Well, do you have time? Will you come talk to us?" So thank you for being here on such short notice. I
Uh, it's my
appreciate.
it is my pleasure, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, anytime. So, John, the other reason I wanted to have you on is because I guess we have some Samantha Markle legal news as well. If you feel like talking about that with us.
Sure, and it's going to be really quick. So a lot of this is stuff that has already been hashed through, but
Mhm.
I wanted just to offer a little bit of clarification. I am not optimistic about the Samantha Markle legal case. I know a lot of people are very excited about it, and
Mhm.
oh, I hope she wins and puts Meghan in her place and all that kind of stuff. This is not a strong case legally. It is not a strong case procedurally. And I could go into all the details. Basically, the judge down at the district court level, which is the lowest court level, said, "Hey, there's nothing here. You've got nothing to talk about. You have nothing. You haven't told me anything. And you got to have something that I can conceivably help you with." And so the case got dismissed. And that's why it was sent up to the appellate court level in Atlanta. It's a three-judge panel. They heard it, and the lawyer for Samantha Markle had submitted some legal paperwork as well. And right out of the gate, it sounds like down in Atlanta, the judges had a lot of questions for
Okay.
Samantha Markle's lawyer that, it was like, well, again, still, you haven't even really addressed why you're here
Okay.
because we still can't help you with anything. So I'm not optimistic that this is going to work out well. I have a question as to whether Samantha Markle really intended to win anything to begin with, or whether she really wanted to get into the discovery phase and try and extract emails and make Meghan sit for a deposition and conceivably embarrass herself. I think that's probably what was really going on. But as far as the nuts and bolts of the Samantha Markle case, as I said, I am not optimistic at all.
And can you remind everybody, just in case they don't remember, just in a nutshell, what is this case? What's the crux of this case? What is she alleging?
Well, she claimed that Meghan Markle had made some comments to the effect that she effectively grew up as an only child.
Mhm.
And Samantha Markle came along and said basically that that was defamatory as far as she was concerned because it cast her in a negative light. And she claimed that she had lost some business opportunities because of the fact that Meghan had again claimed that she had grown up as an only child and that Samantha wasn't really part of the equation in the household and so forth. And it's like, okay, even under the best of circumstances, it's not really all that defamatory if it's defamatory at all. And then you want to try and spin it in a way that says, oh, well, you've lost a bunch of money and business opportunities and everything else. It's kind of like, you're really kind of
Yeah.
grasping at straws and then grasping at more straws and grasping at more straws. And the next thing you know, it's just kind of like, it's very thin. It's very, I think, legally weak from a lot of standpoints.
It seems like
So
it would be hard to quantify or unless Samantha had specific paperwork saying this is the deal we're looking to make with you, and then, it got revoked because of Meghan, then it would be hard to quantify how much she lost because of this.
Well, that's right. And I mean, you have to think back. It's always a convenient example. If you think back to the Johnny Depp trial and the Amber Heard trial, that was based on Johnny Depp's lawsuit was based on the fact that Amber Heard had written an op-ed piece, in other words, a glorified letter to the editor, was
Mhm.
printed in the Washington Post, and it basically accused him of really doing some unkind things to her physically.
Yeah.
And immediately, this is back in the sort of Me Too cancel culture mindset. And immediately he was cut from some film projects, or so he claimed. And, the jury heard all that stuff. And it's like, yeah, well, if you don't have some really solid proof that this is what went on, you don't have any business saying these things and claiming that, he's done something awful to you.
Yeah.
So even under those circumstances, it's kind of a he said, she said. And I think the evidence was pretty good. And that's why he prevailed in
Mhm.
front of the jury.
Yeah.
But in this case, again, it's like, well, did Samantha Markle get pulled from the cast of a movie? Did she have
Right.
a multi-million-dollar deal going with somebody that all of a sudden the person said, no, we don't want to work with you anymore. You're too toxic. You're too dangerous.
Mhm.
We don't want to stake our reputation, have anything to do with you. Just a totally different set of circumstances.
Right. I gotcha. Yeah. That just seems like and of course we wish her all the luck, but I think sometimes people get almost lost in wanting to see the comeuppance for Meghan, and
Oh,
then
absolutely.
it's better
Absolutely.
and uh,
Yes, that's a major undercurrent
mhm,
of a lot of the Megxit content and of this lawsuit and everything else is that people want to see one of two things. They want to see more Harry and Meghan failures,
mhm,
and they ultimately the end game is to see them get a major comeuppance. I
mhm.
mean, it could be in the form of um, personal bankruptcy,
Right.
or Archwell Foundation gets shut down, or a major disruptive life event
Yeah.
for the two of them. That's
Ex
what I think a lot of people are rooting for
Mhm.
better or for worse.
Yeah.
I have my own opinions,
Sure.
and everybody else does as well. But I
Mhm.
think that's what a lot of people are looking for, and that's why I think you see some of the clickbait that goes on too, because
Yeah.
people are very anxious to see a video that says, "Oh, Harry has screwed this up big time,"
Right.
and he didn't actually talk to his father for 54 minutes or whatever it was. He only talked for 15 minutes, and he had to
Right.
sit in the hall and wait while his father was doing something with somebody else. And it's like people are desperate for that kind of reinforcement of their hopes and dreams as far as Harry and Meghan are concerned.
That's a very good point, and it's something that I so feel strongly about, and I know you do too. That's just not something that I'm interested in. They do enough crazy stuff. Let's just tell the truth. So I'm glad you're here to set that straight and say she probably, and we don't know, but Samantha sounds like it has an uphill battle on this one. We wish her all the luck, but we'll just have to see what happens, of course. So,
Well, and if to be, if you want to be sort of philosophical about that,
mhm.
it's not even we wish her all the luck. You would say
Or yeah,
we we wish for the judicial system to return the correct answer.
there you
She's
go.
either entitled to damages, she's entitled to have the case go forward, or she's
Mhm.
not.
True.
And from a lawyer's perspective, it's kind of like I wouldn't feel this way if I was a client, if I had her as a client, obviously. But
Sure.
what you ultimately hope for is for the system to work as the system is intended to work and return the correct answer on this particular issue.
Very well put. Very lawyery. That's a good thing. Okay, John. Well, if you're ready, let's switch gears and talk about this Kevin Costner event because I know we both have a lot of opinions on this. Was there
Hmm.
anything else on that, or you feel ready to
No,
switch?
that was good. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Well, and also I always like to plug social media. So tell everybody where they can follow you if they are hoping to do so.
Well, sure. Witherspoon DC on Instagram.
Okay, Witherspoon, DC. So make sure everybody's following John. But
Thank you.
John, yeah, of course. Thank you for being here. I do have some pictures ready to go, and I have a recording of Meghan. But as you know, on Saturday, oops, that is not the right picture. Hold on. We will get to that. On Saturday, they went to this Kevin Costner event, and it was to raise money. They're calling it a gala to raise money for first responders in Santa Barbara. We
Mhm.
know that Harry was giving a speech here. This was the picture that I kept pointing to because it made me laugh. To me, it appears like she's grabbing the mic. And of course, famously, what year before last, she was grabbing the mic. So I spoke at length about that. But just first question, what are your thoughts about the things you've seen about this? Do you have any general thoughts about two of them being there?
Well, I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt and to say that Kevin Costner probably was thrilled to have them there, and he invited them there because they are, changing the world and doing great things, and he knew that his invited guests would be thrilled to hear what they had to say.
Mhm.
Um, a less generous interpretation, which I think is probably closer to the truth, is that I think Kevin Costner probably invited them because they live down the road not too far and they've been there before.
Mhm.
And as I understand it, Harry and Meghan and Rob Lowe, who was also there, and Oprah, who was also there, I believe they're all represented. Either they have the same legal counsel or the same, agent, or somehow there's a nexus there. And I kind of suspect that that's why they were there.
I suspect the same. Now, the thing that I cannot answer is why, oh, why do they keep letting either of those two speak? John, something I pointed out in the earlier video was something you said, which I thought was brilliant, which is um, what have they contributed to make them worth having? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's a very, very good question, I think. And
Mhm.
are they changing the world? Are they advocating for some cause that is, universally accepted as a truth, like ending hunger somewhere, or pre-K education or something like that. If Head Start or some program like that, that everybody says, well, we all love Head Start. What a great thing that is. But it doesn't strike me that Meghan and Harry have ever really espoused any causes that are universally embraced, which is, I think, what they really ought to do. Or, for instance, hello, supporting first responders.
Yeah.
As you and I talked about offline, Jen, in the first responder community, and I can speak to this being, involved in the first responder community, there is always a list of stuff that needs to be bought. An extra defibrillator to put, we have 100 police cars on the road. Only 10 of them have a defibrillator. Wouldn't it be wonderful if 20 of them had defibrillators, or 50 of them? I mean, that's a really tall order because the things are super expensive. But if we could just go from 10 to 20, wouldn't that be a great thing? And I think that's kind of the angle that Kevin Costner is working at. And it's why he's having this event. And that's why you get people like Oprah and Rob Lowe and whoever else to show up.
Mhm.
Because again, this is like sort of a universal, if I needed help,
Yes,
I would be thrilled
that's
if a
right.
police officer with a defibrillator actually showed up and did something.
Mhm.
Um, you had mentioned I told you the baseball story. Do you want me to just tell
Yes,
that story?
please. Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Well, I just know here a couple of years ago in the DC area, there was a case of some kids that were playing baseball, and it was an organized baseball game with two teams. These are,
Yeah.
I don't know, 14, 15, 16-year olds. One of the players was batting, I believe it was, and he was hit in the middle of the chest with a pitch, a baseball. And it was it was, talk about a freak occurrence. Anyway, the kid was hit in the middle of the chest with a baseball, and it was the perfect storm. It stopped his heart.
Oh,
And so
gosh.
he was lying on the ground, and, they realized, okay, the kid's got no pulse and he's turning blue and all of this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it was a police officer that was at the game or exactly how it worked out. But anyway, a police officer had one of these defibrillators in the trunk of his patrol car.
Oh.
And he said, hang on a minute, I think I've got a solution for this. And he ran out and grabbed this defibrillator. And the little portable ones are about the size of a lunchbox or a large dictionary and grabbed this thing, stuck it on the kid, and shocked the kid, and the kid popped back to life, which was absolutely miraculous. But again, this is the kind of thing that, as I said, those little, even the little portable ones that you have in the trunk of a police car, not the big fancy ones, they call them life packs. Life Pack 15, I think, is the most recent one, where they have a defibrillator. They have the paper strip that comes out, and it's a heart monitor. The 12 has a 12 lead monitor and all that kind of stuff that the paramedics would use in the field. Not, I mean, those are insanely expensive. You're not going to put those just here and there and everywhere.
Sure.
But just the little portable ones. And as I said, that's a great example of the list of things that all first responder organizations have. We would love to have, as I said, a small defibrillator in the trunk of every police car for just this type of an emergency. Or we would like to have, a new roof on a fire station, or, you can, the sky's the limit on what. And yes, there are tax funds that go into these things, but again, there's always a list. There's always a wish list of, I wish we had 5 or 10 more of X, Y, Z, whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And that leads me to one of the questions that I asked in the last recording, and I just am putting out to ether. And I do want to say, every time we record, we always say this, but I'm going to say it again. These are our opinions. We weren't there. We don't know.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
But it seems like, from everything I can tell, I tried to look into it. I don't see, and other people are saying they don't have a record of any donations made by the two of them. Maybe they did behind the scenes, but I can't find a record of it, please.
Well, don't you think everybody in the world would have heard about it one way or another through People magazine or whoever it is, this, the outlet of convenience for this particular week?
It would be posted directly on Archwell, I would think, even.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's that. The other thing that I want to get into is the amount of money, and I don't expect you to get into fashion stuff, but this ridiculous outfit, the amount of money spent here. I figured out, since recording, this outfit cost roughly $3,104. And I was saying to you offline, John, I see something like that and I'm disgusted. I understand, expensive things and all this stuff, but I just think, why can't you spend $100, get a nice dress, donate $3,000? If that's, you know what I mean? Like, for an event like this, it just doesn't make sense to me. But also, since recording on, oh, please, you were about to say something. What were you going to say?
I couldn't agree more, Jen. I mean, that outfit that she's wearing, the thought that I had, I don't know if people, maybe not even in the United States, are aware of this, but there's a clothing line called Carhartt. And it's worn by, it's basically clothing that you'd wear on a construction site. It's very heavy duty, very heavy cloth. It's very popular. I have some Carhartt, work pants and so forth that you wear when you go out in the woods to, saw down a tree or something. But I saw that and I was like, that looks like, it reminds me so much of just sort of the heavy fabric and the bulkiness. And I thought, God, I wonder if that was designed by Carhartt. But it's like, if you were going to get up in the morning and drive a piece of dig a hole with a backhoe, JCB, or a backhoe, or a Caterpillar truck or something, that's just kind of, it's all I could think of. It's just that the fabric looks very heavy and that's just me. I was just eating lunch and I was watching Jesus Enrique Rosas. If I can emulate his pronunciation of his own name, I'm sure I've gotten that wrong. He compared it. He said Meghan showed up at the Kevin Costner event wearing a duffel bag. And I thought that was brilliant. And then he did a side-by-side of Meghan in that blue dress and then a blue duffel bag. And I thought, God, that just is so...
That's brilliant.
It's perfect. I can't disagree with that. I get it. It's absurd, but I cannot disagree.
That is remarkable. Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, of course, he is the body language guy, so shout out to him. That's awesome.
Yes.
So we've since found out, I believe everything is pointing to, and I meant to bring it and I didn't, but I found pictures of the other guests. It sounds like it was a Western theme event. We found where Oprah was dressed in Western. We found where Rob Lowe was dressed in Western. It seems a great many of them were. So once again, showing up like, what? And may I just say, she wears beige constantly. This would have been the time where it would make sense to wear something beige. The one time she could have worn beige and it would make sense. So, of course, to me, it's the equivalent of the kiss cam. They couldn't stop kissing each other. It was so weird, like all over each other. Ugh. And then they go on the kiss cam and she's like, no, no. And I'm like, the one time it makes sense. They don't want to kiss each other. So the one
Well,
time it makes sense to wear beige, but please, you take it away. I'm screaming. Go ahead.
well, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more, Jen. And the thing that's so absurd about it is, I'm a guy. I'm no expert on women's fashion or even men's fashion for that matter. But if I was invited to an event and I knew that there was 100% or even a 50% chance that I was going to be invited on the stage to make remarks, why would I not? It's like, just go with the flow here.
That's right.
Harry's wearing dark pants,
Uh-huh.
jeans, I guess,
Here, I've
a
got
dark
him.
blue shirt, and
Uh-huh.
a blue blazer, and just a regular old belt. You could go on Amazon any day of the week and order yourself a belt, with a giant buckle on it that is big enough to cook a pizza on. Um, which and most women that I know, if you told them, hey, come to this event, it's a Western theme,
Uh-huh.
they would be absolutely thrilled to wear that pair of cowboy boots that they never get to wear anyplace else because it's not appropriate.
That's
Why would
right.
she not throw on a pair of Wrangler jeans, um, which is the sort of quintessentially Western style of jeans that,
Mhm.
all the rodeo people wear, nothing but Wrangler, or at least it used to be that case. I'm sure the comments will ignite, spontaneously combust if I'm out of touch on that, which I may well be. But I do know that most women that have a pair of cowboy boots are thrilled when they can be dusted off and worn to an event like this. So why would she not do that?
She
And
loves those big dumb hats. Think of a better occasion to wear a big dumb hat.
well, right. And there's a picture of William and Catherine when they were out in Calgary,
Yes.
and somebody passed out some hats, I believe.
Yes.
And, I believe William was wearing a shirt that had opal studs down the front of it. Catherine was wearing a pair of boots. Catherine had one of those giant belt buckles on, and they looked like they were having the best time.
I'm
And
time
if the,
stamping this. I'm gonna add that picture in here so you guys can see it. Go ahead, huh?
okay,
Yeah, they
if
were such
if
good sports
if
about
if,
it.
if if William and Catherine can do that, it's like, look, we're out here. We know there's a theme. This is the way it's done. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Okay, but so why fight this? It just doesn't make any sense at all.
You're exactly right. If William and Catherine, future king and queen, can just have fun and be smiling from ear to ear in the pictures, they were at a rodeo and they were just going with the flow. That's what was expected of them. So they're just there having a good time. Not Harry and Meghan. It's crazy to me.
Really
It's
weird.
just, even if it's not your theme, I can't say that I own a pair of cowboy boots, but you better believe if I'm invited to an event and the host asked me to wear whatever Western theme and I'm going to respect the host and say, okay, I'm going to buy a pair off Amazon. Like you say, I don't have to spend $1,000. I can get a good pair for whatever, $100 and I'm fine.
Well, how could Harry's a horse person. How could
That's
Harry not have a pair of boots that
that's
I mean, and
true.
they could be polo boots for all I care, but just, again, put them under your jeans.
Hmm.
And look, okay, well, he got the message, he got the memo.
That's
It's a
it.
Western thing. All right, fine. You
Yes,
know,
you're exactly right.
it's really odd. It's very, very odd.
It is. And so again, going back, I think you've pointed out before, they just like to do the opposite of what's asked of them. So here you have Harry. I'm sorry, he just looks messy here. I mean,
He does.
he just doesn't look polished or put together. And then I mean, I talked and talked about this. This is just a mess. To me, I just see this and I think, okay, she's worked at Sunday school all morning and messed with kids, so she's like a wrinkled mess, you know?
Well, here's the other thing about that dress, as you have it up on the screen. And again, I know we don't like to body shame, and that's not what
Sure.
I'm trying to do here.
Yeah.
That that dress adds 50 pounds to her.
It does. I noticed the same thing. It's not flattering. It's not
It,
flattering. Yeah.
it's really not. It's as though she's got a lot more heft to her that she's somehow trying to hide. And I get it. She's got an odd sort of body shape, and everybody says, she's going to be difficult to dress, but that just is not her dress. She should not have worn that dress.
No, not at all. And then finding out, to add insult to injury, that it cost $3,104 at a charity event. I just have a little bit of trouble with that. If I found out they gave, a whole bunch of money, fine, spend your money how you want. I hate the dress, but whatever. But then if what we're hearing is the case and they didn't give money, they just show up trying to draw attention to themselves, and then to wear an outrageously expensive outfit like that, to me, it just makes it worse. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and $3,000 for what? For
For
what?
what?
Again, there's nothing. Again, far be it from me. I'm no fashion plate, but what did you buy for your $3,000?
You're exactly
That
right.
that's not distinguished attire,
Mhm.
as far as my eye can tell. Again, let's go back. Let's think about the way Catherine dressed when she was with Melania Trump, and they were in the UK with the Squirrel Scouts.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
And you looked at the way Catherine, in particular. I mean, they both looked very
Beautiful.
well put together,
Mhm.
but I just want to concentrate on Catherine. She looked fantastic.
Mhm.
Fall colors,
Mhm.
beautiful. Her attire matched the colors of the trees as they were, starting to change colors, and matched the grass, and just beautifully, beautifully assembled as a wardrobe.
Right.
And I don't know what I know. Somebody mentioned that some of what Catherine wearing was Ralph Lauren stuff, and
Oh,
yeah, I get it. You can buy really expensive Ralph Lauren clothing as well, but at the same time, it's like it looks great.
it looks
It really
great.
looks great.
Uh-huh. And
You
I think
know,
that's what I always say with Catherine. She picks these universally flattering pieces that are timeless. It's not this stuck in history you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
Meghan tends to do. So yeah, I agree.
yes,
I agree.
exactly,
But
exactly.
yeah, this is crazy. But you brought up such a good point about Harry too. About you said, what were you saying? Do you remember about Macy's?
Well, yeah, I mean, you could go to Macy's, which is a very, it's a department store for the masses in the
Mhm.
U.S. for people who are outside the country. I mean, they have everything. They have men's clothing, women's clothing, kids' clothing, furniture for your home, mattresses, everything, bath towels, the whole kitchen equipment. It's sort of like a low end Harrods kind of a store, um, uh, from the UK, from London. But my point is, anybody could walk in off the street, and even a sort of store for the everyman like Macy's.
Mhm.
I remember my mom used to take me in there when I was in grade school. If I needed a suit for something, you go in there and get a reasonably priced suit,
Uh-huh.
and you stand up just like we've all done. You stand up on the little box, and the tailor comes over and marks it with a piece of chalk, and then they say, come back next week and we'll have it all set for you. And you walk out of there, you look like $1 million,
Mhm.
even though you didn't pay a lot for the suit, but it's been altered properly and it looks good. Here comes Harry at this Kevin Costner event, and it's like,
Mhm.
who dressed this man?
Wrinkled
Honestly,
mess.
and
Yeah.
I mean, so many. Just again, the blue on the blue on the blue, and the dark shoes.
Yeah.
Are are we not in California? I mean, this is not. Uh,
Yeah.
it's like I just don't get it. And then even if it was appropriate from a stylistic perspective. It just does not flatter him. And I think I mentioned to you, Jen, I have a neighbor down the street. Money is no object for this man.
Mhm.
And even when you see him on Saturday morning in his car or at the mailbox or going to on his way to the drugstore or whatever it is, and he just, even in his most casual attire, he just looks sharp. And we've all seen people like this, I think. And Harry Harry of all people ought to be in that crowd. And
Right.
that outfit that he wore at the Kevin Costner event was definitely not in that crowd.
You're
It just
absolutely right.
it
Uh-huh.
looked he looked like a college student who had been told, come to this event and put on a blue sport coat.
Mhm.
Okay, fine. It literally, he looks like a man half his age. He looked like dressed like a 20-year-old college student who didn't know any better.
You're exactly right, and it brings to mind, he did the same thing for coronation, arguably one of the biggest should have been the biggest events of his whole life. How many times does your dad get crowned king?
Right.
And he looked like he slept in his suit.
Yeah.
It's just a lack of caring, and I've got to say, and I'm gonna say this nicely. Somebody said one time, and it stuck with me, that the 2 of them always go for this look like they rolled around in the car together, and then they get out disheveled, and that's all I can think of. It's like, it does look like that quite a bit.
It
Or maybe
it
they took a
absolutely
nap in the car, I don't know.
Yeah, it absolutely does, and it's so needless, and you would think with all the money that the 2 of them pour into Range Rovers and houses and 17 bedrooms and all of Meghan's attire, it's like, do
For
you not
what?
have anyone to tell you? Like, you know, WTF?
Yeah.
Why?
What mirror do
Why?
you have? Yeah.
Why? They we've said so many times, they either don't have any friends, don't we
Mhm.
know they don't have any family, they don't have any decent employees to tell them
Yeah.
that.
Yep, you're exactly right.
And I mean, and I've told you, Jen, and I think I've mentioned it in some of our collaborations as well. I mean, there have been times when I have worked for people who were going to go out and have a picture taken,
Mhm.
and I would say to them, "Wait a minute." I remember vividly in one case there was somebody I was working for that was going to have their picture taken for the Washington Post,
Uh-huh.
and there was ink on his face where he had, I don't know if it was on his finger or on his he held a pen up the wrong way. And I was like, wait a minute, stop. I am nobody in this operation, but what I will tell you is that you should not have your picture taken for the newspaper for a major article. There's going to be a color picture it's for the Washington Post magazine, which comes out on Sunday, and it's a little glossy publication that they put into the newspaper. But I said, wait, stop.
Mhm.
Again, I'm nobody in this, but I guarantee you, you will not be happy if the ink is on your face on all of these magazine covers that show up on Sunday morning in people's driveways. So, just again, that type of thing. And I've told people too, it's like, wait a minute, don't go on television until your tie is straight in the middle.
Mhm.
Or, you've got a hair up. Wait a minute, you should
Right.
fix that before they turn the camera on. You
Right.
don't look good. And the idea that Harry and Meghan repeatedly go out not looking 100% their best, especially in the case of Meghan, with all of the money that she has poured into these wardrobe, these attire items.
Yeah.
It's just one of the great mysteries of the world. It's up there with how did the pyramids get built and that kind of thing. And how did
You're right.
Stonehenge, the pyramids, and why can't Meghan Markle get her wardrobe together?
You're
Seriously,
exactly right.
you
With that
know?
much money, it's hard to get it that
Yes,
wrong.
yes, exactly, exactly.
Oh, it's like a challenge though. But you lead me into such a good point. I love where you're going with this. And so not only are they getting the look wrong, I don't understand the personalities. I don't. Why, oh why? And it kind of goes into what you're saying here, John. What is it that they bring? What expertise and what personality are they bringing? Why are they being invited to speak? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the word that I hear thrown around so often, and it's a little bit unkind, but it's hard to get around it because it's so on point.
Uh-huh.
Mediocre. They are
Yeah.
both very mediocre people, and I don't mean that they don't have value as I don't want to offend. Oh, if you say parents, well, we don't know. Okay, at a minimum, let's just say they're guardians of two young children.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. We wish them the best in that role, and we
Yeah.
hope they make all the decisions, and we don't wish any harm to come to them. At the same time,
It's a little scary.
it's a little scary because of, especially, it's like, okay, these are for the most part unremarkable individuals
Mhm.
who purport and tell the world that they are just filled with earth-shattering, civilization-altering, brilliant ideas. Like that,
That's
and when you go looking for evidence of that, it's like,
like, "Don't be mean online," and then their people are being mean online, stuff like that. It's like, "What?"
yes, yes, and then it's like, again, opening the lunchbox and,
Oh, yeah.
"What? What? That's all I get? I have a sandwich, no drink, no
Right.
dessert, no crisps, no, you know what? No potato chips. It's like, this is it.
That's it.
And I genuine and one of the other topics of conversation too is always this business of, well, who are these people that support Harry and Meghan? And I think
Oh,
it's the people who I don't know. I mean, I think there's a reason. Let me put it this way: there's a reason why Meghan went on with Drew Barrymore.
mhm.
Meghan did not go on 60 Minutes.
No.
She did not, you know what I mean? Even with all,
Yeah,
I get it. A lot of people hate 60 Minutes now and so forth,
sure.
but she didn't go on 60 Minutes,
No.
and she didn't go on with, a real hardball journalist that was going to ask some probing, potentially painful questions that she would actually actively have to deflect and make the best. It's like, yeah, we're still a work in progress, those types of questions.
Right.
But I mean, all these little softball interviews, and there are all these allegations that, she's not really being interviewed because all that's going on is that she's just regurgitating answers to questions that she probably allegedly dreamt up in the first place and gave to the reporter and said, ask me this, ask me this, ask me this. And
Right.
so, again, the bottom line is the mediocrity, the a lack of inspiration that you get from these people. They are not really changing the world. Some people think they are, and that's fine. But again, those same people are watching Drew Barrymore,
Yeah.
and those same people are watching The View or whatever else it is, and they're entitled. They're entitled, but I think
Uh-huh.
most people, and again, all you have to do is go on what's the ranker.com
Uh-huh.
and look at Megan and look at the unfavorable ratings. Who's
Uh-huh.
at the bottom for the royal family? It's Andrew,
Uh,
Meghan, and Harry.
yeah.
And why are those people down there? Because they're kind of just, they're
Unlike
not inspiring anybody's spirit.
uh-huh.
A lot of people might call them leeches. The guy from Spotify called them grifters, et cetera,
Yeah.
et cetera. It's just very hard to be inspired by what Meghan and Harry are up to.
You're exactly right. They're not inspiring. They're too busy preaching and doing the opposite. It's just a lot of hypocrisy. I think people find them just, I mean, as we know, very off-putting.
Yes.
Um, they also bring with them bad attitudes, and where I'm going with that is I have a video, John, would you like to see it? There's no sound to it, of Meghan
Sure.
on the sidelines while Harry was speaking. Now, I gotta thank everybody in my comments. Thank you all so much because they let me know the existence of this video. So I'm gonna hit play. It's originally by People Magazine, and it was reshared by Rue's mama on St. Meghan Markle. So thank you so much for that. And let's see, I've got that video right here. So there's no sound. I'll just hit play. And I can zoom in on her face in just a second here. But she appears, so he's got the mic here, or he's getting the mic, and then they zoomed in that she is off in the wings. And the caption they put is no. There's my phone. Nobody puts Megsy baby in the corner, which is funny. If you know Dirty Dancing at all, that's a line from Dirty Dancing. Nobody puts baby in the corner. But I have a close up of her scowl there. So thank you guys for letting me know the existence of this video. And again, we're just basing it off a look. But I guess the question that neither of us know the answer to, but let's speculate anyway. How did she go from scowling on the sidelines to hold on, I've got the picture to oh, not that. Sorry, hold on. To grabbing at the mic almost with him. Sorry, that doesn't look like they're cuddling. It looks like she's trying to like give me that. Anyway,
Yeah, it
how does
does.
that happen? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it can't be said enough times. She's an actress.
Yeah.
She may not be a very good actress. A lot of people think she's a terrible. Maureen Callahan has horrible things to say about her acting skills, but Meghan is at least collegiately trained actress.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, she would point out that all the years and years that she spent after school on the sound stages in Los Angeles, watching her father and watching the, people on the TV show on Married with Children. But she's an actress. She's an actress.
I'm laughing because she'll remind you she's on Suits. That's all she can do. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Tell me again how many years ago that was?
Oh my God. I don't even know at this point. So many. Well, it'd be before they got married. So however many that's been.
It's like I count on my fingers, but I have there are limits to how many years you can count on your fingers.
11 fingers. What are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. Right. No, but it's true, and it's one of those. I don't think your acting skills, to the extent that you may have some of them, I don't think you ever lose those skills. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you have to be aware of the fact that people are out and about who do have those acting skills. And so it's very easy for Meghan to go from, I don't feel very good about what's going on. I'm upset. I'm scowling, if in fact that's what's going on.
Yeah. To
walk 20 feet out onto the stage and, I'm so thrilled to be here, and ear to ear grin. And, you have to be careful of people like that.
Yeah.
And again, to go back to the Johnny Depp trial, that's what you got from Amber Heard.
Yeah.
A lot of people looked at her and said, I do not believe when she smiles, when she frowns, when she cries, allegedly, or whatever it was. I don't find this to be authentic. Mm-hmm. There's only one time, and I don't even remember what it was specifically, but everybody said, aha, look, Amber Heard actually cracked a smile because of something that was said that was genuinely funny. And everybody laughed at it. Mm-hmm. But that was the only time anybody ever said, I really think we're getting the real Amber Heard. It's very hard to tell when you're getting the real Meghan Markle as well. I'll say this as well. Scott Rouse, mm-hmm. whose work I really, again, I put Scott Rouse in the category of, I believe about 50 or 75% of what he has to say. Mm-hmm. The rest of it, I'm not so sure that I can divine all of this, meaning from different body language styles and all this kind of thing, but at least he makes me think about it. And one of the things that he has made me think about is, again, the performative behavior of somebody like Meghan. And I have heard studies before where they say, okay, if you smile and you just smile with your mouth, mm-hmm. that is an insincere smile. If you genuinely feel a smile from inside, your face reacts in a way that's very, very difficult to emulate. And you don't have to be trained in body language or any of this other stuff to be able to see that. It's kind of like, this person is putting me on. This is the smile of someone who's trying to sell me something. The person who wants to, get me to, this is a real estate agent who really wants me to buy this house and is smiling at me versus.
You remember what my mom did? Okay, God.
Well, your mom's okay. She would never do that. But my point, you understand the point though. You understand the point. it's well, let's forget about real estate. Let's talk
No,
about a
I'm
used car
teasing.
salesman.
Gigi will love that. Hi, Gigi. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a car salesman.
That's
That kind of a smile, and you just think, how happy can they possibly be that I'm going to buy this car? Makes me suspicious. And that's the way I think people react to Meghan. You don't have to be trained formally in it. It's just hardwired in your DNA to be able to spot that and say, I have questions.
I think you're right. Why doesn't Harry have that? The questions, I mean, that's a whole other thing, right?
Well, I mean, he told her he loved her on the third date. So, I mean, while they were, in a tent in whatever country in Africa, Botswana, I don't remember. But so there's a lot of things about Harry that he sees or doesn't see, or I mean, his conscience is clear. By the way, lest we forget.
What
I wish
conscience
I
would
could.
that
I wish
be?
I could clear my conscience so easily.
I know, right? It's clear because he doesn't possess one.
Well, I've heard that before too. So it's like, there are a lot of people who don't think Harry possesses much of anything as far as conscience or intelligence, and who knows? Maybe he, as I've said many times, he may have wonderful, fabulous, latent gifts. It's just that some of us have yet to divine what those are, and he has not revealed them to us yet.
So, John, if you don't mind, I have a few comments that I'd like us to read from Daily Mail. And then I know we wanted to talk briefly about the state visit as well, if you're up for that.
Sure.
But here is another picture that I had found. And again, I'm no body language expert, but I don't understand any of this. I can't imagine if somebody's speaking, let alone my significant other, partner, whatever, even my best friend. I'm not distracting away from them. I'm not moving around on the stage like that. I just find it very bizarre. I know it's a moment captured in time, but it just strikes me as odd, everything about this picture.
It's very odd.
Yeah.
It's very odd. And I have to say too, again, a lot of people would look at a picture like that and draw, they're having a fight, they're this. It's like nobody knows that stuff. It's like all these people that are talking about, they're running out of money, that the sky is falling. It's like nobody knows this stuff.
Sure.
I mean, we can speculate, and we, maybe somebody's got an inside source we don't know. But again, I think the fact that picture was actually published, I think, says a lot. I'm sure there were tons and tons of pictures that were taken of them. By the way, none of which included them, to my knowledge, none of which included them in a threesome with Kevin Costner in the middle and one of them on each side. None of them included a picture with their buddy Oprah. Yeah. None of them, to my knowledge, included Rob Lowe or any other celebrities that were there.
I don't think so.
Isn't that an odd thing? Isn't that an odd thing?
Excellent point. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're exactly right.
And maybe Kevin Costner didn't want his picture taken with them.
Maybe.
It could be the case that, some people said, okay, well, no, don't. His staff might have said, no, don't invite them at all. They're too toxic. And other people might have said, well, they are neighbors, so invite them, let them say a few words, but I'm not going to get on the stage with them.
Yeah.
Kevin's not going to be seen with them in any pictures because Kevin doesn't want to do that. So.
And again, these are our opinions. We don't know for sure, but the allegations that I've heard are that allegedly Harry and Meghan had their own photographer there and they just got pictures of them. Imagine I don't know how else to say it, the balls on somebody to do something like that, to go to an event, bring your photographer and then publish your own pictures for publicity, if that's in fact what happened. Now, these pictures I'm showing are courtesy of Daily Mail. So there's that. Maybe that was the intention, but I just find it all so gauche. I really do.
Well, again, and we've talked about this so many times, but the thing that makes the two of them remarkable is that they are not wired up like the rest of us, vis-a-vis, and the same thing is true with Andrew and Fergie, as we're finding out on a daily basis. But there is an absence of shame, an absence of humility, an enormous sense of entitlement. There is an enormous sense of superiority That's what makes them so off-putting, because they are so at odds with the way normies are wired up.
You're right.
And there's a time and a place for that. I
Yeah.
get it. If you're the king, it takes a little bit of um, bravado and, well, I'm the king. Well, I better look like the king. Yes, you better look like the king, Your
Mhm.
Majesty. So again, there's a time and a place for all of this, but not for the Harry, the Meghan, the Andrew, the Fergie of the world,
Yeah, agree.
you
Agree.
know. And
Yep.
again, you look at somebody like Princess Anne, I think by all accounts, Princess Anne gets it just right, given her role in
Mhm.
the grand scheme of the royal family and the grand scheme of the UK. I think everybody has very good things to say about Princess Anne in terms of the profile that she keeps, in terms of how hard she works, the number of events on her calendar, and all of that kind of thing. Um,
Yes.
Harry and Meghan and Andrew and Fergie could learn a lot from Princess Anne.
I think you're right. Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought her up because, that's something I've read about. I've read quite a bit about Princess Anne. I love her. And not only does she do all these, I guess forward facing events where she can add some spotlight to good causes, she does so much behind the scenes that nobody ever knows about.
Yes,
And so
yes.
I ask you, they can't even do stuff regularly. So, in what world, what universe would it occur to them to do anything like that? I always said if I was super rich, I would make as many people's lives better as I possibly could. I don't think they have that kind of thinking in them. That's my opinion.
Absolutely, and not going too far afield into. I know Jeff Bezos is a controversial figure, but I think I sent you an article recently, Jen, about Jeff Bezos's ex-wife, Mackenzie, I believe is
Yes,
her name,
Mackenzie
and
Phillips.
the
Yeah,
and
or
the
yeah.
extent to which
Uh-huh.
she is giving away enormous amounts of money
Incredible.
non-stop, and with zero interest in being held up in front of a spotlight or being worshipped or anything else. And I've only seen a couple of articles. I mean, and I'm assuming that they're true. I don't know
Yeah,
why anybody would make up something about her, but
right.
apparently there's just tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars flowing out the door that she got from her divorce settlement. It's all
Mhm.
Amazon money,
Yeah.
but it's her divorce settlement from Jeff Bezos. If you did not happen to, if you blinked, you would miss it. That's what Harry and Meghan ought to be doing. Let me just say this as well.
Mhm.
There was a time 6 months or a year ago when I said publicly, I think what Harry needs to do is to apologize
Mhm.
and lie low for about 5 years,
Mhm.
continue to do what he feels like is important to do. And
Mhm.
that could be philanthropic types of things, or, he could, I don't know, hike in the woods and write poetry or what, just something out of the limelight.
Mhm.
I have really evolved my thinking on this recently. And it, the business of my conscience is clear, and I didn't give away. All I did in my book was to set the record straight and to try and knock down misinformation.
Mhm.
As far as I'm aware, there was no information about how and where and under what circumstances he had his first sexual encounter behind a pub, and what happened to his uh, private parts when
Exactly.
he got too cold,
Mhm.
and all sorts of other stuff. It's like you are really out in left field. You really must think people are stupid, or you must really have something wrong in your head to
Right.
think that you can get away with those types of comments. So I think at this point that it's beyond the point of redemption and
Mhm.
rehabilitation.
I think so too. Mhm.
I just don't think that he could take any amount of time away and issue any amount of apologies and win over sufficient numbers of people to rehabilitate his reputation in the public eye. I get the distinct sense, and I hope all the reports are true, that William and Catherine feel that way. I know if somebody went after my wife, if my brother went after my wife in the ways that Harry is alleged to have gone after Catherine and published private text messages and so forth, again, it's like you've almost,
It's too far.
it's too far. It's like a tattoo on your forehead. You just cannot
That's right.
get around it.
That's lines
So
you don't cross. You don't go after people's children. You don't go after their spouses. You don't. Yeah, exactly. And why did it need to be public? Even if you don't like your brother's wife or whatever, you don't need to announce that publicly, even in a roundabout way. You don't need to let
that's right.
the world know. So
That's right. And there's so much to be gained by being a little mysterious in that
that's
regard,
it.
to say nothing of the fact that, I mean, again, the old, if you can't say something nice about somebody, then, keep your mouth shut.
Right.
And I think most of us try to live it. It's one thing for us to sit here and talk about Harry and Meghan. Okay, that's all
Sure.
fine. But at the same time, um, I mean, the people that I know who are the most successful, have the most friends, who get along, who get promoted, and are generally liked, are the people who keep their negative thoughts to themselves for the
Yeah.
most part. And I don't get the sense that that's what Harry and Meghan do. And also, nobody likes a whiner. Nobody likes a complainer.
I
Nobody
like
likes
that
a
you're saying it in
victim.
a whiny voice.
Well, it's hard not to.
No,
It's
it's
hard
funny.
not
Go
to.
ahead, please. Yeah, it's just
And
funny.
again, all the same thing with the wardrobe is the same is with their personalities.
Yeah, they're
You
so
know,
unlikable.
so many people to tell them, hey, don't say this, don't do this, don't put this in your book. And yet there it is.
There it is. Absolutely. That's right. Well, John, any other thoughts on this Kevin Costner event before we switch to, or just in general before we switch to your thoughts on the state visit?
No, I think that's a good summary of everything.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So, as we know, Trump and Melania just visited over with King Charles, Queen Camilla, and of course everybody else. And just tell me your thoughts in general. What did you think of all that? Did you watch some of the military parades? What were your thoughts about all of it?
Well, I agree with everybody else
Okay.
who has, and the general consensus being nobody can do the military parades and the carriage rides and the this and the that and the other. Nobody can. Nobody in the whole rest of the world can do that like the British can.
That's
It's
right.
just a given.
Mhm,
It's just a given. The pomp, the pageantry, the history, the
mhm,
all of that stuff, the ceremony, the detail.
mhm,
Um, it just cannot be replicated. The
mhm.
United States, when we do things like that, the best that we can do is to make sure that the band marches with absolute precision,
Mhm.
and that there's a good crowd out to receive the foreign dignitaries and so forth on the South Lawn of the White House.
Mhm.
But nobody else can compete with what the British did. And I think that there are a couple of important takeaways from that. And some of them are still sort of developing in people's consciousness. But the first of which is the British don't always pull out all the stops in the way that they did for an American president last week. No other world leader that I'm aware of has ever gotten that degree of just over the top. And as the president said, nobody has ever had the state banquet in the hall at Windsor, in that
Beautiful.
enormously long table. So here's the interesting thing, I think, that not a lot of people have really picked up on. This relates to Harry and Meghan.
Mhm.
Harry and Meghan, you recall when Meghan was in New York City and she had her little mini motorcade of 3 black SUVs. Whoop-de-doo. You know, anybody can run down to Hertz, rent a car, and say, I need a black Suburban,
Uh-huh.
or I need 3 black Suburbans, or whatever. Anybody can do that. but not everybody can do a state banquet like King Charles did for what was it, 160 people at the
Mhm.
table, something
Mhm.
like that.
Uh-huh.
And Lady Colin Campbell did a great commentary on. She was answering some email questions. Why are there so many people there, and why do they all look like they're flying Ryanair or um, GoJet or what some discount airline? Why couldn't they give a little more elbow room? And her response, I thought was perfect, was, listen, if they could have squeezed 40 more people in the room, they would have done it.
Mhm.
These were all important people to have there.
Yeah.
So the relevance of all this for Harry and Meghan is, though, they can putz around in 3 black SUVs and say, oh, we've got a
Mhm.
little convoy and a motorcade of our own. Get over yourselves. What a
Yes.
joke. What a joke. No way in the world can Harry and Meghan ever hope to compete with the likes of that state banquet
Mhm.
with King Charles and Trump and all those other dignitaries there, the entirety of the British government, all that kind of stuff. Um, two presidential helicopters, the Sea Kings, which, by the way, is the same helicopter that Prince William flies or flew
Oh,
in the ambulance service.
that's cool.
Sikorsky Sea King, a very versatile helicopter, can land on water, do all kinds of cool stuff. Um, so I thought that was kind of interesting that they
I
sent
did.
William and Catherine out, and I could sort of imagine William looking at Trump and saying, "Oh, I like your Sea King, Mr.
Uh-huh.
President, and I'm very familiar. I like
Yeah.
it's a great helicopter.
Let's go
Cool
for a
that you
ride.
have. Yeah, I've got one of those too, or at least, or I'm
Um,
given one for a few hours every
yeah.
once in a while. So anyway, yeah, the two Sea Kings, the Chinook, which are the giant helicopters they don't have a tail rotor, they have the two horizontal rotors on top. Two of those to carry around the press and everything else. You know, tens and dozens of Chevrolet Suburbans,
Uh-huh.
the Beast, which is the usual, the Cadillac limousine that the president normally rides around in. Um, just again, the contrast between that and even like when Macron was there a short
Uh-huh.
time ago, he
Yeah.
didn't get that stuff.
Yeah.
He didn't
Mhm.
get all that stuff.
Mhm.
But the other thing about it that was so interesting to me, and I know this from I've not to blow my own horn, but I have done 2 stints at the White House.
Hmm. That's cool.
And I can tell you from firsthand experience,
Mhm.
everybody's talking about, oh, Trump's remarks, in particular, the comment about, you've done more he said to the king, you've done more to help wounded veterans than just about anybody else. Well, who else do we know that runs around talking about wounded veterans all the time?
Mhm.
Let me think. Yes. Oh, it's Harry. So he said that, and then he also made the comment about, you've really raised a great son.
Mhm.
Not, I really like your family.
Right. Or
Your
sons, plural.
or
Yeah.
your extended family.
Right.
What a great group of people.
Mhm.
Your 2 sons, your 2 daughters-in-law, your
Right.
this, your sister Anne, blah blah blah. I can guarantee you that Trump's remarks were vetted by I'm guessing somewhere on the order of 20 different people
Wow.
in various places in the White House. I mean, the process starts by, hey, Mr. President, we got this UK trip coming up. You need to prepare some remarks for you know, for your dinner speech.
Mhm.
The king's going to talk. You're going to talk. You've got 3 minutes or whatever it is. Okay. They bring a speechwriter in. The speechwriter says, Mr. President, what would you like to talk about? What do you think is important?
Mhm.
And, it starts out with Trump saying, yeah, I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about this. Anything in particular that you don't want to talk about? And this is the kind of overlooked aspect of it. Well, I don't want to talk about Harry. I don't want to talk about Meghan. I don't want to talk about Putin. I don't want to talk about Venezuela,
Sure.
all of these different types of things. Like, okay, fine, we can work with all of that.
Mhm.
And then they craft some remarks. They're reviewed by probably the chief of staff, the legal counsel, all kinds of people in the West Wing of the White House. They're sent out to the State Department. Probably multiple people at the UK desk at the State Department looked at this. Probably also was sent to CIA. A lot of people don't understand what CIA does. Yes, CIA does a lot of different things, but one of their core missions is to gather information, which means that aside from the State Department, CIA probably has a very, very good read on what's happening in the public consciousness in the UK. They are a fact, first and foremost, CIA is a fact gathering organization.
Mhm.
So they probably sent it over to Langley and had people at Langley look at the comments of the speech, probably sent it to National Security Council and a whole host of other, as they say, the three-letter agencies. And then it finally got back to the to the West Wing, and Trump looked at it probably and said, yeah, I can live with this, or he said, I don't like this, or this isn't strong enough, or whatever. And then it's a give and take type of a thing. He doesn't get just to say whatever he wants.
Sure.
The other thing is, I guarantee you they went over at great length that if he decided in the moment that he wanted to go off script a little bit,
Uh-huh.
if you want to go off script in A, B, and C and talk about Princess Catherine, she's looking really radiant. She
Sure.
looks beautiful. She's got this really fancy dress on. She's got the tiara. She looks good. She looks healthy. She does not look like she just came out of the hospital after however long it was. She looks good, and I'm happy about that. If
Yeah.
you want to go there, do it.
Mhm.
And at the same time, still though, do not go off script and talk about, again, this subject, this subject, this subject,
Sure.
Harry, Andrew,
Andrew. Yeah.
Fergie, all of this
Yeah.
stuff. It's like whatever gets, strange things have happened. And we've all done public speaking. All of a
Uh-huh.
sudden you think, I hope I didn't say something stupid. I guarantee you he was told repeatedly, you can go off script and off message a little bit on this if you want. If you want to amplify something in the moment, great. If you want to emphasize something else in the moment, no, don't touch that with a 10-foot barge pole, because that's going to be deadly. You don't want to embarrass the king. You don't want to embarrass yourself. You don't want to embarrass the United States government. You don't want to embarrass the British government. You don't want to embarrass the United States people of the United States. You don't want to embarrass the British people. It's an enormously, enormously complicated process. It's not just, I pulled out a sheet of, I pulled out the back of my telephone bill in the car on the way over here and scribbled a few notes. That is not the way it works at all. So the omission of Harry and Meghan, absolutely positively deliberate.
Mhm.
The specific point about your wonderful son, singular, your work to aid wounded veterans,
Mhm.
ouch, ouch. That is what they would call it, a backhanded,
Or maybe
an insult by
aggressive.
omission, or
Uh-huh.
whatever it is. I mean, everybody gets it. It's like, oh, oh,
Very
oh.
intentional. Yes.
I wonder if he said that on purpose. Yes, I guarantee you he said all of that on purpose. And what he didn't say on purpose was equally important.
Yes. And you had pointed out that what would have gone through all of those checkers was knowing what they could say and not necessarily tick off King. You don't want to make your host mad. So they were betting that they'd be okay by doing that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I guarantee you and I left out of all of those people checking it. I'm quite sure that the people at the US Embassy in London
Oh, yeah.
also probably read through
Absolutely.
this multiple times and said, yeah, from our vantage point here on the ground in the UK, in London, only a few miles from the king
Mhm.
and the parliament and everything else, this is all going to be okay.
Yep.
This is all going to be okay. And the only thing, like if you think about like a president like one of the Bushes, George Bush, 41 or 43, they probably would not have talked about Prince William, you have a wonderful son.
Mm-hmm.
That would not have been, they would have been uncomfortable with that.
Yeah.
And they would have crafted a different way to say, Your Majesty, you've set such a great tone. You've done a wonderful transition from the legacy that your mother left over the course of 70 years. You've stepped up in such an admirable way. At some point, we hope it's not anytime soon, your son William is going to take over. I have every confidence that he's going to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different animal than to say, you have raised a wonderful son.
Yes.
And made everybody go, wait a minute. He's got more than one son. Why did he say it that way?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the other thing, too. I have a lot of problems with Trump. There are a lot of things Trump does I quite frankly think are correct.
Mm-hmm.
And he's solving, I don't want to get political, but Trump is going to trump, as the saying goes. He's going to do what he's going to do. And it's just a question in an environment like that state banquet of just massaging it into a way that he's not going to be too much Trump, which would be objectionable, and too little Trump, well, he's not going to put up with that. Right. So it's just a question of massaging everything into a universally tolerable state of affairs.
Yeah.
That does what he wants to do, and does what he's not going to throw the State Department people or the CIA people or anybody, these other people. He's not going to throw the British embassy, the U.S. embassy in London. He's not going to do something to upset those people. It's just not going to be done. Mm-hmm. He's got enough on the ball to understand there are limits to what you can do. And I thought it was remarkable.
Yes.
Overall, very, very impressive. And I have to say again, and you know what else I had to laugh at? The flowers, not the flower sprinkles, but the flowers on the table. We've seen so much video of Meghan in the flower shop or with her basket in her garden or somebody else's garden or whoever's garden, or I'm going to get 2 dozen of these and 2 dozen of these and 2 dozen of these, and it's like, and what are you going to do with all that mess?
Exactly.
Nobody wants all that. It's like, run down to the corner market and get a $20 bouquet and stick it in the middle of the table, and everybody's like, great, she remembered to get flowers. Isn't that nice? What a thoughtful hostess she is. And yet you look at that, and then you look at the flowers in the middle of the table at that banquet. Mm-hmm. And you just think, okay, this is how you do flowers.
That's right.
This is how you do flowers. And God bless the people that spent. I mean, can you imagine I read something about there are over 1,400 pieces of flatware, silverware at the table. Can you imagine?
That's
incredible. All those
incredible.
water glasses. And I mean, just absolutely magnificent. And again, I can't think of a single other country in the world that could pull that off the way that they can pull that off in the UK. It just can't be done. Just can't be done.
Incredible. Yeah.
They've got the history, they've got the skills, they've got the finesse, they've got the, they are uniquely positioned to do that stuff. They were absolutely positively at their best.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Indisputably so. Indisputable.
I'm going to timestamp this. You don't realize you're doing it. The more you talk about how wonderful it is, the angrier you seem to be getting.
Oh,
it's really funny.
It's because it's the whole Harry and Meghan of it all.
But you're like, it's fucking beautiful.
It is. It is.
That's my favorite part. I'm just sitting here trying not to laugh, but you're like getting purple. You're talking.
Well, you can call me out on that if you want. You can call me out. We can talk about it. I don't care. I'll explain. It's like, look, the idea, again, this is emotion rooted in Harry and Meghan.
Well, you know what? I can leave this part in as an Easter egg, guys. You're getting an Easter egg. Are you okay with that?
Sure,
I'll
sure.
go back and watch it.
It's the contrast of with Harry and Meghan, plus the fact that those two could have been there. They could have been there.
That's funny. I'll go back and make sure we're good. But yeah, it's funny.
Yeah,
You are
but
right now the color of my shirt because you're talking about the flowers.
I mean, it's so remarkable that again, Harry and Meghan could have been there and they blew it in the biggest way. And then they tried to imitate what's going on there. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What a joke.
Absolutely.
What a joke.
Yep.
And then for Harry to for the next year, all attention must be on my father. And like,
I know, like giving hints about his father's health and stuff. I'm not into that at all. While demanding privacy. Didn't you say some friend of yours had some sort of yoga? Maybe you could go back and see that friend.
Oh, the alpaca yoga.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll call him up. I need to come back. When's the next alpaca yoga class? I have to get on an airplane for that, but
yeah.
okay. Need to
That's
get
funny.
my chi or my zen or my
goat. Your Crocs, what?
That's right. My shoes are too tight.
Yes,
I'm
that's right.
animated.
That's why you turned the color of my shirt purple.
Right.
I do want to go back and say one thing, which kind of made myself laugh, and now it's totally out of context, so it won't be funny. But in honor of my dad, I have to say, my dad has a saying. He's a country boy, and he has a saying, as you were saying about, Trump and going to these places and knowing what to say and what not to say. My dad always says, act like you've been somewhere. Act like you've been somewhere. Act like you know what you're doing. Act like you've been somewhere. Harry and Meghan are not capable of acting like they've been somewhere. They don't know what to do on a stage. They don't know how to act like you've been somewhere.
I've had this conversation with multiple people, and I think we've probably talked about it on here as well. And I think this is the biggest problem for Harry and Meghan. You have to behave in a way that flows from within your heart. Mm-hmm. That sounds very poetic and grandiose and everything. And it's like, okay, fine. But again, and the irony is that there's all this conversation. Oh, I my authentic self and my truth, and like, your behavior toward other people, your spirit of generosity, your service ethic, it all has to flow from within you. Mm-hmm. And especially is the case with Meghan, I don't think she feels that organically. Mm-hmm. I think she has, again, back to her acting skills. Again, this is just my opinion, but my impression of her is that she does not really care for other people. And when she purports or claims to care for other people, it strikes me, my opinion is that it comes across as everybody says, all of a sudden performative. Yeah. It's going through the motions because she's been told or she has figured out that this is the appropriate thing to do. Uh-huh. Harry, I do believe, probably has a little bit more warmth in his heart for other people, but he doesn't know how to pull it off. Mm-hmm. And it's so overshadowed by this pompousness and this entitlement, and the lack of intellectual horsepower, mm-hmm. that he just makes a mess of it. And he gets up and, I would love to know what he talked about at the Kevin Costner event.
Yeah.
but
Crayons. Which crayon tastes the best? I don't know.
anything's possible. Anything's possible. But the point being, though, that I I don't get the sense that either of them are really set for a life of service in the way that, for instance, Princess Anne is, or
Right.
that in the way that I get the sense. You probably remember, this goes back a couple of months, but there was this. Princess Catherine was at a knitting factory of some sort, a textile factory in the
Yes.
UK, and she was the place where they make sweaters, jumpers, and socks, and so forth.
Yes.
And when she came out, there was this
Little girl.
little
Yeah.
girl screaming, "Hello, princess! Hello, princess!"
Yeah.
Catherine stopped the motor, like, stop the car! I want to get out.
Mhm.
Okay, she got out, ran across the road, and talked to this little kid.
Yes.
And I think that was because, again, that flowed from within her heart. She wanted to acknowledge this little kid. Yes, of course she knew. The photographers are all going to be there.
Mhm.
Everybody's got their phone out. It's
Right.
going to get reported in the news. But
Uh-huh.
that's not really what
That's
motivated her.
yeah.
And I have to go back as well in that regard, talking about um, Princess Catherine and Melania Trump
Oh,
talking to
yeah.
the girls,
Uh-huh.
the little scout. I think they were 3 and 4 years old.
Uh-huh.
Um, I couldn't, again, I realize a lot of differing opinions
Mhm.
about the Trumps.
Sure.
Donald Trump, Melania Trump, okay, that's not what we're here for, but hear me out. Um, there were several little kids that were very clearly drawn
Mhm.
to Melania Trump.
Mm.
One little girl in particular wanted to sit on her lap.
Cute. Uh-huh.
And Melania Trump said, "Yes, you can sit in my lap." And she,
Oh,
picked the girl up and sat
uh-huh.
there. And then they were going to get up and go do something else.
Uh-huh.
And this same little girl took Melania Trump by the hand and was
Aw.
dragging her, like, "Come on, come on." And the girl was like bouncing up and down as little kids do. And like,
Yeah.
"Hurry up, come on, come on, come on. I want to get there. You're holding me back."
Yeah.
Nice lady. I
Uh-huh.
don't know what First Lady of the United States
Sure.
means. I have no
Right.
knowledge of who you are other than I think you're pretty and I like you. And I want to show you something.
That's cute.
Anyway, um, again, just such a stark contrast to, people talk about, "Oh, Harry, he's so great with kids." I can't even, this was like a Harry-esque relationship between this little 4-year-old girl and Melania Trump.
Mhm.
And all I could think was, can you imagine Meghan being in a similar circumstance? Little girl, what little girl, I can't envision a little girl wanting to sit on Meghan's lap
No.
or wanting to show her, "Here, come here, I want to talk to you about something." Here's the
Right.
other thing that's interesting too. And I noticed this in that interaction with the little kids, the scouts,
Mhm.
both Catherine and Melania Trump engage with those little kids on the level of those little kids. The little kids remained the stars of the show, and Princess Catherine and Melania Trump just kind of slid in through the side door and said, "Oh, what are you drawing? Where did you find that leaf? That's a pretty colored leaf. Where did that come from?" By
Mhm.
contrast, if you remember some of the occasions on which Meghan has engaged or tried to engage with little kids of a similar age, how does she do it? She sits in a chair with
Mhm.
kids sitting around her.
Right. Uh-huh.
She is the center of attention. She's
Mhm.
elevated above them. She's
Mhm.
the one reading the book. All
Right.
you see of the kids is the back of their heads. The only
Mhm.
person whose front you see is Meghan. The only face you see is Meghan's face.
Mhm.
I find that very compelling
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
a difference in style and a difference, again, to a certain extent, of what's in your heart. If I was Meghan and somebody said, or some PR person said, "Hey, I want you to interact with some kids," I
Mhm.
think my reaction would be to do something like Catherine and Melania Trump did.
Right.
Like, okay, I want to just kind of, the kids will be doing their thing. I want to just merge on from the side of the highway and they can keep on doing right what they're doing,
Mhm.
not I want to be the center of attention. Stop the kids' activities. Make
Exactly.
them pay attention to me. You get the point. I just think it's very, very interesting to watch.
Yes. I'm reminded of Nigeria, and I know I just study this stuff, so I remember it. There's a little girl that had flowers, and Meghan has a picture of her, and the little girl looks like she's about to burst into tears. And I understand some kids can do that, but
Right.
that's often what we see is more of a photo op, or to your point, backs turned, focus on Meghan, versus it seems to be just let's let the kids be kids with everybody
Yes.
else that interacts with them. I agree. Yeah, it's
Yes.
quite
Yes. And a really and all credit to the White House and the palace and all these people. This is again the difference between what the people in the gray suits are doing for the royals and for visiting dignitaries at the palace and in the UK generally, the difference between that caliber of planning and PR type of person versus what Meghan and Harry are dealing with to the extent, I mean, even if Meghan and Harry listened and internalized all of the advice that they got from whoever it is, Method Communications or whoever else is calling the shots for them, making suggestions, they still wouldn't be good as the people at the White House, the people at the palace, and that's again assuming that Harry and Meghan would actually listen to what their PR people are telling them, which I'm not convinced that they ever do.
yeah.
I think they probably pay a lot of money for a lot of pretty good advice, and then apparently they pay no attention to it. Just as it was the case as we started out talking about their wardrobe for the Western themed Kevin Costner event. Where exactly was the ball dropped?
Right. Right.
Between
Exactly.
the invitation, the staring into the closet, looking at clothes, what do I want to wear, and then showing up on the stage. You know, it's just so mysterious.
We never got answers who dropped the ball to release the twerking video. So that's your
Apparently,
favorite.
somebody has said that there's a recut of that. There's a longer version of that that
No,
may or may not be in the works.
you bite your tongue. No, I know you're dying to see it, but the rest of us don't want to see that.
Well, no, I don't think I am dying to see it.
All right,
I don't think
fine.
I am. You know, it reminded me so much of the scene the scene in the American Office. What are you
Uh-huh.
saying?
I, w- I was gonna say, what could that have reminded you of? God.
The scene in the American Office when Dwight Schrute gives birth to the watermelon
Oh,
on Michael Scott's desk.
yes.
They have
You prepare for Jan. Yeah.
the rehearsal birth, right? Because Jan is having a baby, and Michael is convinced that he's going to be part of it somehow, and so they go through this exercise, and Dwight Schrute gives birth to a watermelon, which falls on the floor and splits hilariously.
Oh my
But
God.
because Michael Scott has dropped it. But again,
Mhm.
it's like how absurd and stupid could this possibly be?
I don't know.
When Meghan was dancing around,
Yeah.
you
Huh.
know, with with with
Um,
purportedly right before she gave birth.
well, next time you're in Montecito, you get the scoop for us and come back and report, okay? Let us know if there's more of that
Oh,
video
sure.
to happen. John, I want to thank you for your time as we wrap this up. Any other thoughts? Anything else on your mind about all this? Anything else?
No, I think we're in good shape. We've covered a lot of ground, and I appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk with you.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have you. I appreciate you being here. Now, offline, we have a whole list of other things we're going to talk about another time. So look forward to having you back very soon. And guys, if you have questions for John, or if you have things you want to see us discuss, let us know in the comments.
Mm.
John, as always, it's a pleasure to have you. And I look forward to reacting to the longer video twerking. But no, I'm kidding.
Well,
Gross. I look forward to your very strong takes on flowers again soon.
I have strong feelings about flowers,
I
as
saw
you
that.
pointed out. Again, it's the My feelings reflect the level of astonishment that Harry and Meghan think that they can compete with that.
That is true.
I
And
don't care what you think about Trump. I don't care what you think about the king. I don't care about anybody's thoughts of any of it, but it's just the level of grandeur and the perfection and the over the top beauty of the whole thing
Mhm.
compared to the the finger painting that they're doing out in Montecito, plus the fact that they could have been there.
Yes, absolutely.
Just
Absolutely.
just incredible. Just
Well,
incredible.
and you've never actually said what you did at the White House, and I don't want to reveal your secrets, but I think this is a good time to tell everybody you were a florist there. Is that correct? That's
Oh,
why I feel
sure.
so
Yeah,
strongly about
right, 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 right. No, that'd be the last job that I would have had there. They have wonderful people there that work in it's really two groups. It's the National Park Service, and then it's because the White House is considered, even though it's a secure facility, it's like, well, who owns the White House? How is this tended to? Well, it's technically, I think, under the purview of the National Park Service, because the National
Oh,
Park Service deals with all the landscaping and the grass and everything else. But there's that, and then there's the residential staff at
mhm.
the White House, just like at the palace.
Right.
Probably considerably smaller than in the British household, but
Mhm.
there are people there that are very, very fine cooks and florists and um, you name it. They have huge numbers of people that are there to take on those tasks,
Mhm.
um, and they do a great job of it. And a lot of for it's just like again at the palace in the UK, a lot of these people once they get in there, they are so proud to have that work and
Mhm.
that position that they never leave. I mean, there are
Yeah,
people that have been there 50 or 60 years. It's remarkable.
it is. Yep, absolutely. John, thank you so much. Tell everybody, remind us all where we can find you on Instagram.
Witherspoon DC on Instagram.
Witherspoon DC. And any announcements yet on the channel? Peer pressure, peer pressure.
Well, I just got back from vacation. I was out of town at a conference actually, and it's actually a law enforcement conference, which was very, very interesting.
Cool. Uh-huh.
And I got some great pictures of that. That might be actually, well, I won't spoil it, but it was actually outdoors, and it had to do. There was a racetrack involved and a lot of police vehicles,
Oh, cool.
and I got some very, very cool footage. So maybe that
Yeah,
would be a good subject to put on a YouTube channel and kick things off.
that'd be awesome. Definitely let us know and we'll all flock over and subscribe to you. So that's great.
That would be very thoughtful, very nice.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, John. We hope you have the best day. We'll talk to you again soon. A huge thank you to John Witherspoon for your time, for your answers, for your great personality and being so much fun as a guest. I really appreciate that. Guys, I will be having John on again soon to talk more about legal matters or whatever Harry and Meghan are up to. We have a list of things we want to talk about. So if there's anything you want me to add to the list, please let me know in the comments, or questions specifically for John. Let me know in the comments, or if you just want to leave him a nice comment, that's wonderful too. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I did. And I can't wait to bring you more stuff like this. I hope you had the best day. Bye bye. Hi. Thanks for staying tuned. In case you don't know, I've been doing this at the end of the videos where I just put in an extra little bonus message. And today's bonus message is a thank you to John. Thank you for staying with me and talking through all those topics. I really appreciate it. So, in case you guys didn't know, that was very last minute. I asked him today, same day I recorded, to hey, can you record on this with me? And he moved some things around and was able to jump on and record this. So, thank you, John, for your time and for being so wonderful. He's such a fun guest. I'd love to make fun of him, but I got to tell you, he's as nice behind the scenes as he is that you can see on camera. So, thank you, John. I hope he does start up a channel soon so we can all flock on over and support him. But do make sure you follow him on Instagram as well. But guys, this is going to do it for me. I really appreciate it. Leave me your comments. Let me know your thoughts on all this. If there's something that really resonated with you from this one, let me know. And if you stayed tuned this long, let's see, what should we comment on this one? Tell me let's see. I did what are our favorite things about Catherine? Let's do what are our favorite things about William? Tell me something you love. No, you know what? Let's do Princess Anne because we haven't done her. I will do William soon. But since John brought up Princess Anne a bunch in this, let's talk about Princess Anne. Tell me your favorite things about Princess Anne. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Have the best day. Bye-bye. Oh, yeah, I'm fall again. I dig this cranberry color so much. It's because of Catherine. We just saw Catherine in the beautiful cranberry. So I'm like, I got to wear cranberry. And I love it. It's so fun. Let me know what you think. All right, I'm leaving this. Bye. I was made aware that my chair squeaks. It does squeak. Squeaky, squeaky. All right, bye.